because I could have laid there and died. I actually, was ready to mentally, but I wanted to be here still for my children. But I could have just gave up. I thank God I didn't. And I was like, after I stood up, I'm like, I'm going to take some steps. And I fell. And here I am put back in the bed again. And I'm like, dang it. I want to walk. I want to get up. I had grandchildren. I had a hospital bed in my home. And I had grandbabies all over me. Push the button on my bed. I'd be up, down, feet up, down, up, down. I'm like, okay, y'all through riding? I'm getting nauseous. But they'd be like, Mama, it's here, watch this. I'm like, yeah, I know, it can do all kind of stuff. But they were my joy. They were my light. And my little 2-year-old, Sophia, she'd grab my arm, and I don't even know, I guess coming to see me at the hospital or the nursing home, she'd grab my arm, and I couldn't move it. And she'd be like, 1, 2, and there's 3, 4. I mean, like, okay, hang on. And I called her my little physical therapist. And then my older granddaughter, she was like 7, 8. And she'd get her little notepad pen. Okay, Mamas, what hurts today? I'd be like, my legs. What else? How do you spell that? So I called her Dr. Melania. And then my little Noah, he was maybe 1. And all he would do is curl up right under my arm and just lay there and take naps with me. And I was like, turn the TV around. We'd watch cartoons. And I was just like, that is not what I pictured me doing with my grandkids, because I was highly super mom active. I used to umpire for Little League, played ball with all my kids, just did whatever needed to be done, I did. And I just thought, I was always strong and healthy. How can I have this? I didn't understand it. And nobody else understood it, and nobody else could explain it. Oh, you have CIDP. Yes, what is that? And it's chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy. So the thing is, your nerves are always constantly being eaten up. I'm on chemo now, and that's been helping. And I hope it continues to help, because I got off the IVIG. One time that IVIG gave me like a mini stroke. It's very harsh. And I don't know. I haven't figured out exactly what the answer is for, these diseases. But I'm trying to research and, just to help people with what I know, what helped me. And hope it helps someone else, because my doctor said, I've never known anybody with CIDP as bad as you. I mean, I was at death's door, and I knew it. The good thing, I had a rock for my husband. He started to cry one day at the hospital. I'm like, don't you even do it. Don't do it. We're not going there. I said, you square up those shoulders, you be strong, and we're going to fight this together. I said, I can't have you crying, because then it's going to tear me up, and I'll get discouraged. And I have faith, and I believe, that we're going to get through this. And, he did all his research. He had a binder that thick with every paper, every test, every doctor's note, kept, record after record. And he was just, drugged me here, drugged me there, carried me, put me in the wheelchair, took me, to this rehab, that rehab. Even at home, I was, had a catheter, changing my bag. My 12-year-old was, my 12-year-old son. I'm sorry. I had to change my diaper and tell him to just think of this as cleaning up a mess. You don't know how much, your kids love you, or even loving your kids, until something like this happens. And I never wanted my kids to have to take care of me. And all of them did. And my daughter would stop by before she went to work and change my catheter bag and, get whatever I needed. My to come home every day after school and help me get on the porta potty once I could get up. And, just go change that, never saying a word, never saying, Mom, I'm missing practice. My daughter, teenage daughter, having all her little activities, Mom, I'm at a volleyball game, and I'm like, okay, go, win. And I just think, that I'm so thankful and so blessed to have the family I have. And I used to say, I can't wait for all you kids to grow up and get a place of your own and quit tearing up around the house. And, because I worked hard with all of them. And now I'm like, I don't care what you do. Tear up, jump on the couch, whatever you want to do, it's fine with me. Mess up, I'll clean up when I get to it. But they were a blessing. I had one child off at school and college, and then my older daughter married with the 3 little ones. And my husband would try to work because we had to have our insurance for all these medical bills. I mean, millions of dollars of medical bills. Just one little bottle of my medicine, which I needed 8 of, the IVIG, is $20,000. Then I needed 8 big bottles of the plasmapheresis. They were about $6 a piece. So every week I was doing that. And like $120,000 a month or something. So he tried to work and would come home for lunch, bring me lunch, and check on me. And I was just in the hospital bed at home, just lay there, take a nap, watch TV, take a nap, watch TV, and wait for somebody to pop through the door. And then I got a home health nurse, and she'd come and take care of me. And but on the journey, it's been a long journey, and I don't mean to go on and on, but I'm just thankful I'm where I'm at now. I can walk. I don't need a catheter, and I don't need somebody. I had to have somebody feed me, dress me, do everything for me. And you don't know how quick that'll humble you. Sometimes we're prideful and we want to do everything on our own and do it all ourselves. And I don't need any help. My mom used to say, you need some help. You ought to get a maid with all those kids. I was like, I can do it. And then I found out I can't do it anymore. And you know what? Not that I was prideful about anything. I was just happy I had, a home and children and a life. But it sure humbled me. I met, nurses and doctors and nurses, and they would always come to me. I would, I always have a joyful, happy disposition. And they'd always tell me, they're going through this or that. And I try to talk to them and encourage them. And I was like, this is kind of weird. Here I am laying here, and I'm encouraging all of y'all. And they never had to encourage me because I was, I'm on fire and I'm going to keep moving forward and I'm going to make it with the grace of God. And, but, I just loved them and I'd see other patients come in with the Guillain-Barré or the CIDP and other different autoimmune things. And I try to encourage them and say, you can get through it. You're up, you're walking and, just keep doing it and take your medicine. And I tried to send a lot of them to Mayo Clinic because my family wound up when they did figure out I had CIDP. That was at UNM because I gave up on Presbyterian. I was like, y'all can't give me a diagnosis. The ambulance came to get me one time from my house and take me back to the hospital. I was like, please don't take me to Press. And I'm sorry if anybody works there. I just didn't know about CIDP, I guess. I said, just take me to UNM. So UNM is where I was researched. I had woke up one morning and I opened my eyes and there's just all these doctors in white coats around the foot of my bed. I was like, is that my angels? As I didn't know where it was. And it was doctors and it was in, they couldn't figure anything out. I'm like, well, y'all are studying. I want you to go study numbness and tingling. You go look up why I have pain. You go look up this. You go look up that. And finally, they did. And they came up with, CIDP. And that's how I started my treatment. And I'm still going to Mayo Clinic. And like my doctor told me, he said, because I had gone to the hospital a couple of times, falling out of my wheelchair, just not being able to hold myself up any longer, sitting in a waiting room. And I'm like, can't my husband come back here? I have to go to the bathroom. And they're like, no, we'll take you to the bathroom. I'm like, so you're going to pick me up and set me on the commode and put me in my wheelchair? And the nurse is like, where's your husband? And so he brought me in there. And it was just chaos after chaos after chaos. And I was just like, somebody do something and figure this out, because my husband and I are both about to go crazy. Not knowing is worse than the disease process. Nobody knowing what's going on with you, and then people thinking you're half crazy. I'm like, no, don't you think I want to get up and move? Because they were like, at rehab, they'd be like, well, you're not trying. I'm like, yes, I'm trying. I'm working as hard as I can work. But when your muscles don't move and your nerves don't tell your muscles to move, then, you're stuck. But with all the help from a lot of nurses and doctors, I'm slowly making a comeback. And about March it's been a year, March, I gave up my walker. I said, I'm going to do this without a walker. And if I have far to go, I use a cane, or I go to a store that has a cart because I have to push something. But I'm just glad to be here. And I'm glad Jacob is here. And I'm glad that, he's decided to do this, because even when I was in the hospital, we were trying to come up, we need a CIDP, support group. I met my older son's football coach, was laying next to me with CIDP, and we kept going, we know you. I think we know you. And, 15 years later, we're both in the same spot. I'm like, what were we drinking at the football games? But it was strange, that he had CIDP too. And I wish he was here. He's a wrestling coach at one of the high schools, so he's off working today. But I'd like him to be at the next one. And I guess I'll let y'all go. I've talked your ear off, but it's good just to keep encouraging Jacob and be patient. It takes patience. My husband was like, what are the dishes in the sink? I'm like, I'm taking the day off. I'll do them tomorrow. He's like, well, what's in the dishwasher? I'm like, it needs to be unloaded. That's why there's dishes in the sink, because I don't feel like unloading the dishwasher, and I don't feel like loading the dishwasher. He's like, no, I'll do it. I'm like, no, just leave it, and I'll do it tomorrow. Then, it was drinking glasses and coffee cups, because we went to lunch yesterday, so it wasn't like I'd cooked a big meal. But, thank God I can cook for my family now, and I can do dishes and laundry, and just doing the best I can with what I got. And just keep encouraging Jacob, and he's a fine young man, and I'm sorry that, he's doing, and I don't, handling it that young would be awful. Like I said, even at my age, it was awful. And I just hope they find something that'll work. I know stem cells supposed to help, but I kind of was too sick for them to try that. And he's saying he can't find a doctor. I went to a new primary care last week, and about CIDP, you need to be on steroids, and I'm not going to give you the medicine that the Mayo Clinic has prescribed for you. My neurologist, that is a CIDP expert, and here's a young 30-something-year-old telling me what he knew about CIDP after looking over a sheet from a neurologist like that, going, oh, well. I'm like, you know what? You can't be my doctor. Because I don't think you know anything about CIDP. It's hard. It's hard finding a doctor that's going to listen to you or that knows what the diseases are. They don't know what you're going through. And I told him, I said, if I came in here with the flu and you've had the flu before, you would know what I feel like. But I have CIDP and you don't, so you don't know, what that is or what it does to you. Because apparently, you would know that I need to be on what my neurologist has me on. So I'm in the process of looking for a new doctor too. So I feel you there. But thank y'all for listening, and I hope we grow. I know we'll grow as a group. But thank you, Jacob, for having me this morning, and you be encouraged too.
Seem to have run into some technical difficulties and lost our internet audience. So we're trying to get that all up and running. So if you're watching, we apologize. If you're, I'm still apologizing, but you're not going to know it. But we are going to take a brief intermission. We should be back online in about a half hour. We have some cookies and stuff in the back that we would like to eat. And since you didn't want to come, you can't have any. It's all ours. So we're going to take about a half hour break, and then we will come back with Kenny Mosier, one of our sponsors. So enjoy. next year we'll be somewhere else. So everybody, Joe and Kate Lowry, my grandparents, out with the room, and with after this we're doing a lunch for. So we're. I would also like to thank Best Western Rio Grande Inn and the Turquoise Museum for working together to get us this room free of charge. And last but certainly not least, he didn't know I was going to do this, but I'd like to Noah Bryson. Next year we will know better. So, like I said, I want to thank everybody for coming, and we will see you next year.